You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Baum.
Boom.
Baum.
Boom.
Ryan, good day, sir.
Good day to you.
You notice anything different in the podcast room?
You know, it's a little creepier.
That wasn't the word I was looking for.
Well, you got a bunch of, it's all horror posters now.
Yeah, I took out the hockey jerseys and I just said, I interview a lot of actors and producers and things like that. I love entertainment. I love horror. So yeah, I put all these posters in here and I really like it. You can't really see it, but I even have my urban legend poster up there. It's just the one poster of me where it's my chubby face in the bottom corner right next to Jared Leto and Tara Reid. I like it. It's just different. I like change. But I don't like change.
Yeah.
I like the same thing. I like eating the same thing. I like doing the same things. I don't like people taking me out of, and I'm working on that because I think that's important to get out of your comfort zone. Do you do that?
No, not a ton.
No.
No, I agree. No, I don't. Change is hard.
Change is hard, and change is going to come.
Change is difficult.
Well, it's just been such a crazy year for everybody, and I know you didn't get to go home for Thanksgiving.
No.
And you were very upset about that.
I was, because I don't change is hard, and I never miss Thanksgiving, and I love being with my family, and it's just nice when we go up, and it always feels like a reset for me because my parents live live on a mountain in Sonoma.
Rich.
The house is actually very modest, I will say.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that, man. I know that you love your family, and if it makes you feel better, I haven't seen my family since my grandfather's funeral last Thanksgiving. I haven't seen my mom in years, but these are the sort of things that everyone's going through. It's not just you. It's like everybody I talk to. It's like, people who are, I don't want to say responsible because then the people that go, then you say they're irresponsible. But no, I know people are being safe and all that stuff. It's eventually this is going to go away. We say it every week. So it will go away. At least we have these thoughts of a vaccine coming and home testing and this and that. And before we know it, we'll look back and think, God, do you remember that? That was so horrible. I swear to God. Do you remember the 2020? Oh, shit, man. Hey, guys, thanks for listening. Great episode last week with James Roday Rodriguez and with Dule Hill. I love those guys. I always love when Ryan has a good time editing. So you should watch the episode if you haven't seen it, if you just listen to it. But I really appreciate you guys subscribing on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, watching and subscribing on YouTube. It really, truly helps the show. And that's all I'll say about that. So just do it. If you're thinking about doing it and you haven't done it. If you're here for today's guest and you like the show, please follow us. Our socials, Ryan?
At Inside of You Pod on Twitter, at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, at youtube.com/Inside of You. We should probably make one of those in the little social thing.
Can you just put, there they are, right there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Thanks, Ryan. They're right here. You can just
thank you, Bryce. Bryce makes
Bryce does that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Bryce. Look at this.
Yeah.
See there? Was it right there? I don't know. I want to thank all the patrons, my patrons. If you go to patreon.com/insideofyou, patreon.com/insideofyou, you could join the wonderful family. And I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Patrons are listeners, friends, fans who want to support the podcast in another way. And they get special things like, I don't know, it's just a tight community. Talked about it ad nauseum. But it's wonderful. They get to ask, shit talking questions to the guests, some tiers, and they get merch boxes and discounts and YouTube lives with me and Zooms, just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff there. And join if you want to. It's a lot of fun. I always send you a little message right after you join. That's me, of course. I always hate when people say, is it you who's sending them? Yes, of course it's me. I would feel incredibly guilty. I couldn't live with myself if I wasn't the one messaging. I have these merch boxes that I send to the certain patrons in the tier every 4 months or whatever. And I make a little note. I write that out, a handwritten note with a little Inside of You card. That's me. I just couldn't imagine somebody autographing something for me or signing something for me or writing. So I think that's just disrespectful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's rude.
It is rude.
It is. I don't particularly like that. I also announced the name of our band, Rob Danson and I. We have a new band, and it's called Sunspin. I know some of you are going, Sunspin. I actually really like it. In fact, Ryan, what did you say about it?
Oh, I thought about it some more, and it's something you can see like on the back of like a T-shirt for like a music festival.
Right?
Yeah. You see like Fish and Sunspin.
Radiohead, Fish, Sunspin. They might be giants. It's simple. It's California, the sun, spin, records, music. It just sort of fit, especially the music that Rob and I are making. And the album's coming out soon. It's called Sunspin. We do Stagets at the end of every month, the last Saturday of every month, 2 shows, Pacific time, 2 and 6 p.m. So go to stageit.com, type in Michael Rosenbaum, follow me on there, and you'll get alerts. We're going to have a bunch of other stuff and sites and all that stuff. So we're really excited about it. And I think you're going to love the album, which we hope is going to come out in January or February. We're finishing it now, and it's just remarkable. I'm so proud of it. And I'll give a shout out to Zach Darling, our producer engineer, who's really rocking, and everybody who's worked on the album. Yeah. Also, if you want to go to the Inside of You store, lastly, Inside of You store, there's tons of stuff, and take 15% off. The code is INSIDE15. Mugs, autographed mugs, tumblers, autographed tumblers, shirts, wine glasses, towels, bunch of stuff. So check it out if you want. Inside 15. I love Dulé and James, and they talked. They have a very special story last week about their good friend who worked on Psych with them, Timothy Omundson, and that was really heartfelt. And then getting Timothy on the show, and he was a little reluctant. I don't think he does a lot, and he's been through a lot. And we got him on the podcast, and I don't know what it is, man. Some people, I just feel like I want to hang out with them. I've said it before, but innately, just a wonderful human being, and tell some amazing stories, and talk about adversity, having a stroke unexpectedly, and what that does to your family, what that does to your life and your career, and how you navigate. And so that's amazing. But before we get into Timothy Omundson, we have a very special guest. She and I did Zoe Duncan, Jack and Jane TV show. She's been in Hellboy and Cruel Intentions, and she's done so many things, and she's wonderful. And what happens, I saw Timothy on Larry King, and Larry said, who do you admire? I think it was. And Timothy said, Selma Blair. Selma has MS, and she's stronger than most people I know. And she's been dealing with that, and she doesn't do a lot of interviews, but I thought that was amazing. I had to reach out to Selma, and she was so touched by it. And I said, you know what? Would you get on here and do a little intro? And she said, sure. So first, before we get inside of Timothy Omundson, let's get inside of Selma Blair. Hi, cutie.
Hi, lovey. How are you?
You look good. Look at your hair. I love your hair.
Thank you. I went to Chris McMillan yesterday, and it always helps. When you get a good haircut, it makes such a difference. I looked like 80s mom, yesterday, and now I look like 80s, old teenager.
Aunt. You look younger than an aunt or a mom.
Thank you.
Even though you have a 9-year-old?
He's 9 now. Yeah, he's 9, Michael. I can't believe it. When's a kid gonna happen for you?
You got all serious and looked at me. So I
don't even know. Are we on right now?
Yeah, we just record. We just record.
What?
We're recording.
Yeah, that's all cool. But I'm really I won't do this to you while we're actually having our conversation on a computer. But anyhow, Michael, I love you, and I mean, kids are overrated. It's like a house guest. But it has bad manners and stuff. It's really stressful.
It's got to be. Look, first of all, I've known you since. I've known you since.
I've known you the longest. I mean, we did our first show, Rose. Oh my God, we did our first show educating Matt Waters
with Montel Williams.
My first job.
Yeah, it was 1990.
Right, it was my first job. It was in New York. You've been a huge part of my life, and I remember your apartment too in Alphabet City, and,
oh my God.
and with Matt. And the guy that died in the end of the hallway, and how bad it smelled all summer.
Do you know?
It smelled so bad. It was so hot, and it was so bad. And I'd come over and gamble for off-track betting. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I had an OTB account. I forgot that I had an OTB, and I would accept people's bets.
And I had so much fun. And my boyfriend at the time, Jason Grossfeld, came over once, and he's like a huge real estate guy in LA, in LA now. But huge. But he did off-track betting with us. That was fun.
I forgot. So a guy, just brief, so I know this is an intro of Selma, but a guy died in my apartment, and as we're walking in, Matt and I,
the guy died in your apartment building down the hall and hadn't been discovered for
a week. And I said, "Oh my God, what is that smell?" Matt goes, "Smell. Somebody died." I go, "No, it's like sour milk, the sourest of all sours. Once you smell a dead body, you've never."
Sandwich. To me, it's like a shit sandwich, like a fecal sandwich is death. And my sister was a cop in Detroit years ago, and she'd find a lot of suicides or deaths, and it's so fascinating to me. I love this stuff. If I die and I'm not found for a week, I could be look like 500 pounds and I'd be hissing with body fluids and gases escaping.
Okay, this is morbid.
I wonder why I don't sleep well. So that happened, and it smelled so bad. That was the summer of incense, off-track betting.
Incense and off-track betting. Listen, I promised you this wouldn't be long, and this is an intro. So look, the whole reason we're here is I've known you forever, and Timothy Omundson, who's the guest on the show today, he was on Larry King. Incredible actor, and he had a stroke a couple years ago and has been so brave in talking about it, and it really helps people out there. And I know that all of a sudden I'm watching this interview, and then he says, Larry King says, "So who was your inspiration? Who inspires you?" And the first thing he says is Selma Blair.
And that's so huge to me. It's the best. It's the best feeling someone that you admire their work, the way they live their life, and then they mention your name in any way. It's so flattering. And this has been huge to learn something so new, this stage in the game, and to know about him and such a great recovery he's made. And that's what I'm learning too. I just started really doing really intense physical therapy. It's hard on Zoom to do PT for brain damage, but I do it and speech therapy, and it helps immensely. So when I listen to him and saying he's really recovering, and it took 2 years really for him to get back to work, it made me feel so much better, because I just thought I was going so slow with this going in and out. But as my neurologist also says, brain recovery it's such a discipline, and it takes a long time. And to see someone put in the work and do it and talk so elegantly like he does about it, I'm really happy.
Well, what's amazing is I assumed he knew you. Why else would you say some?
No, but then I thought, oh my God, maybe I have more memory loss than I think. I'm like, Rosie, did I work with him? I don't think he did Xena the Warrior Princess, and I did a spinoff, but we didn't work together. I was Cyan the Warrior Princess for a minute, but it didn't work out. So I really don't think I did, but
I don't think you did.
Brain damage.
You didn't. I asked him.
I didn't remember anything.
No, I think that you honestly just inspired him by coming out. And that had to be hard. Look, I want to just quickly, I think it's so important because you and I share something that I think we're both two people that have always wanted attention, wanted the life of the party. It's like, oh, Selma's going to do something. Or, oh, here goes Rosenbaum. We've got to do something to fit in. At least I've always felt like I had to fit in. So, and I know you I think I talked to you about this, and you think a stress had a lot to do. And we've always if it's one person I could relate to in terms of who relates to stress, for some reason, I just am always stressing about the little things. All of a sudden, my body's numb. I'm like, why are you worried about the contractor coming over this morning?
And do you still? Because I know you've been really working on that, and it's still stress. The things that we thought were little things, you still activate.
Yes, I still stress, and I'm working on it to help. But let me ask you: do you think stress has anything to do with bringing out MS? Do you think it has a huge part of what?
I absolutely do. I mean, I do. I think stress, the mind-body connection is, I really hope that people stop saying, there's just brain, oh, you just have a brain hit. No, it's because I go in and out, you notice,
Mhm.
of speech patterns being imperfect and some movement. And um, I forget what I'm going to say. Wait, the point is that this will be one of the biggest what were you saying again, Michael?
The stress,
Sorry,
like the
this
stress.
is a part of it.
No.
Stress.
By the
Thank you.
way, you're
It's
saying
just like a part of me figuring out how to get through it when my brain just kind of
you take your time and you just do it. And by the way, so it's stress and like, so how do you deal with
I
it?
think I was born stressed. It's just like my thing. I maybe came from like a histrionic family, kind of dramatic, some parts of it, and I would kind of adapt into that. And I don't know if I wanted to fit in. I didn't ever think I was worth anything. So my only way to fit in with people and have friends was to make myself the big joke or not think nicely. I remember not being as kind growing up. I should have taken some improv classes. So it would be yes and. I was always no, but and turned it into this whole like routine I do because I felt if I did show up somewhere, I'd have to. I didn't think of it as attention stealing. I thought, I have to give something, and it was kind of thoughtless because you're just then like.
By the way, I'm cutting you off only because I'm like
Thanks.
on the verge of tears right now because I think I'm like looking at myself like what you're saying. These things are just like honestly like I found myself being emotional because I feel that way. I feel like I've always just tried to like I just don't feel comfortable. I never have felt comfortable. So I think we probably hurt ourselves. The stress probably becomes overwhelming.
Absolutely. I mean, our central nervous systems can only take so much. MS and I also have something called POTS that came about from MS. It's like a postural orthostatic thing that all of us have when we stand up with you pass out. But I will pass out at anything. My heart just changes rhythms, and it's just I see daily how any stress, how this is not stressful to talk to you. This is amazing to talk to you, but just me because I can't see the screen that well because I get double vision up at this thing. So I shut my eyes and I realize that's stress. Right, that is a form of stress. So just looking at a screen, I'm not upset, I'm not crying, but that's stress for my body. For you going out and having, people expect you're funny, Michael, and so it's really everything. We put this stress on ourselves to accommodate and to try and be healthy and then try and get to sleep. And I'm instant gratification yesterday. So, I'll self-medicate with meditation or negative things in the past, that would, do all that. And it is all stress. And then the way I'd react to stress that can be more stressful. And I absolutely think I just kind of burnt myself out. Like, sure, I probably had, I'm Irish and that's like people from that hemisphere get that nervous system thing more. But all these nervous system things, which is stuff that you deal with too, we have a lot in the world, even before this is more chaotic than we ever thought, than I ever really allowed myself to think, what it is when people really have to stop and realize what's going on and the chaos that is. All that stress, even though my life is very privileged in my house, but I'm stressed for everyone. And I find,
you're pretty damn articulate. I got to tell you, like your mind, like the way you were sounding, like, my mind doesn't connect, but like the way you're speaking, it's so much more eloquent than I could ever speak.
It
really is. It really.
I mean quickly, and I will learn to talk better. A lot of it is just getting these kind of contractions and then not breathing correctly.
And calming down. Does that have like calming yourself down?
I mean, I'm really calm now. Like I still am like hyper and I move too fast, but I realize, and another thing from watching Timothy, is he moves very purposefully. And he takes his time when he talks. And when I do that, my voice is clearer as well. And it changes your whole energy. And this will take a lot of therapy for me to learn to go against my nature of rushing to please or rushing to check out. One or the other. So it's all stressful. Life for me is stressful, like until now. At least when I did get a diagnosis, so much of what we want is validation. Just validation to say someone hears. I don't want to hand out, sick or not. I mean, I love a handout. Who am I kidding? But I'm not like, it just feels better to connect with people. And we've connected really deeply, me and you, and you've affected a lot of my friends. And I just find the more people truly try, it's just easy and less stressful to talk to them because you feel they're not so judgmental. That's less stress. It's all the stuff I think people might be thinking. And things are worse if I go out in public. I move worse. And at first, then I'm like, oh my God, is this psychogenic? It's all in my head. Blair, you're crazy. You're going in and out. And it really had to be explained. Just the stimulus, like light, get the traffic jam or people coming at me or talking because I don't have good proprioception. But I can learn how to train this. And staying out of stress is the key. You're absolutely right. I mean, I absolutely believe all the dis-eases I will give myself in this lifetime have been an accumulation of like grief and how badly I might have dealt with it in the past.
But do you think like this? Look, I'm going to let you go now. What's the one thing, or maybe there's two, that you would just say that really helps with your stress and just calming you down ultimately? If the first thing that comes to your mind.
This too shall pass. I mean, it's on my shirt. I actually ordered it. It's
I love it.
Gamze Yavor. That's Hebrew. I actually ordered it on Amazon. It's funny enough, and I really love it. But it just means this too shall pass. And my mom always said it. People in AA say it. Christian. I mean, it's and in the good and the bad. So if I'm feeling great, I remember this too shall pass. So enjoy it. Spend time with your son. Make sure you get on a Zoom with Michael for this. But that's it. Like, I just make sure I do the few small commitments and I keep it small for now. And then I settle. And it's amazing because it really is how everyone is. Whether you don't have to have MS to notice the difference. It's just more extreme. Because I get more traffic in the brain, but this is how we are. We're made like this. I'm sure so many people who listen to you. I mean, everyone is if you open up. And it is the getting settled. And that's what's happening in our world right now. Hopefully settled in it's such a shift happening. But
dude, listen, I love you so much. And you inspire me. You not only inspire Timothy Omundson, but you inspire so many people and your story. And it just really, that's what life's about, is inspiring people and telling your story. And if it helps one person, that's enough.
I agree. It really is. It's the biggest pleasure of my life right now to see my son grow up okay and to think that anything that I could do, or you could do, people I know, that anything we could do would help people in the world. Because I think I felt useless for a long time. I never had a big career path because I was so thrilled that anyone would give me a job. I would just kind of take stuff and I didn't ever think I was worth thinking I would have a career almost. And, just that thinking burns you out. And I'm a whole, different kind of thought pattern now. I would know I can take care of myself now before a burnout. But
so much for a 5-minute conversation.
I can't help it. We both love each other. We love to talk. You're great on your show. And I hate to talk until I'm talking. It's like sex. You want it until you're in it. I mean, if you're an older woman.
Listen, I love you. I don't want you to keep going on because I could talk to you forever, but I'm going to bother you. You look fantastic. I love that you're doing so well, and you are an inspiration.
Thank you so much.
I love you. I really love you. Thank you.
You too.
Inside of You is brought to you by Theragun. I have, before they were a sponsor, I have this amazing Theragun they sent me, but I had all their Theraguns. I always spent money to get Theraguns. Theragun was like, this is like the original. This is the original. I have the first one, the second one. I always use these things. Somebody who has a lot of muscle aches, soreness, injuries. There's nothing like having one of these suckers at your disposal. It's just a fact. I love talking about things that I know. I know about pain. I know about tightness. I know about stress. And I don't know what I would do without a Theragun. And, I know you stress. It weighs on all of us, right? Whether you're elite athletes or just a regular guy trying to get through your day, like Ryan here. Mm-hmm. Muscle pain, muscle tension, they're real things. And this is why I use Theragun, the handheld percussive therapy device that releases your deepest muscle tension using a scientifically calibrated combination of depth, speed, and power, and now as quiet as an electric toothbrush. I love that I could change the speed on this one. It's really cool. The all-new Gen 4 Theragun has a proprietary brushless motor that's so quiet you will wonder if it's on, while you soothe your aching muscles with Theragun's signature power, amplitude, and effectiveness. I travel with it. I don't go anywhere without this device right here. It is a beautiful thing. There I am, massaging myself. Oh yeah, see how great. Look, you can tell how happy I am as I use this. And there's Ryan. Ryan, how'd you feel? Because afterwards you were like, dude, that feels so good.
Because it feels so good. It does.
It really does. It significantly helped me. Significantly reduce my stress and muscle tension and all that stuff. Try Theragun for 30 days. There's no substitute for a Theragun Gen 4 with an OLED screen, personalized Theragun app, and the quiet and power you need.
Starting at only $199.
$199. Go to Theragun.com/inside right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today.
That's Theragun.com/inside.
Theragun.com/inside. Inside of You is brought to you by Geico. We love our Geico. Ryan, we know, rents.
I do rent.
Right? He does. It's not easy whether you rent, whether you buy. Nothing's easy. The number one thing people are always, talking about is I got to pay my mortgage, correct? Mm-hmm. I got to pay my rent. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing. In fact, when you go out to LA, they're like, you should make what your rent is in 1 week. I'm like, what? That's not easy for most people. But what is easy is bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Just go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
How's it going, bud?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for spending your Sunday with me. You're like, I got to do this podcast. For God's sake.
I'm happy to talk to you. Sorry, it took me a while to get here.
No, I appreciate you. And, I think the reason I wanted you on the show so much is because, I think you said we met once a long time ago.
I think we passed somewhere along the ways in the Sutton place.
Probably. We all passed through. It's like the ghosts of the Sutton place.
But then you and I actually met and chatted at the Troubadour.
Oh, yeah. That was when we played after Richard Spate's band. Or before them.
Christmas show.
We opened for them, right?
Yes, I think that's what it was.
That was a blast. But the way everyone I talk to talks about you, like, I mean, I hear this stuff about Henry Winkler, like he is the mensch of Hollywood.
Is he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like the nicest guy you'll ever meet. And it's true. I worked with him, and he's still that guy who checks in and goes, Michael, I'm checking in. I hope your dog's well, Irv. I hope everything's great. You can hear it when he texts. You can hear it. And with you, it's sort of that. I get this feeling that everybody loves you, the best guy to work with, and super talented. But, and you went through this whole thing, and there was so much love.
You forgot handsome.
Well, definitely handsome.
Wildly handsome.
Wildly handsome, and you have style. I like the glasses. I like the hat. You always look astute. I will say that not only did Dulé and James talk about you, but everybody I've talked to, and I have this thing called Patreon, right? So people join Patreon, the extra support of the podcast and this and that. And when I just go, hey guys, who do you guys want on the show? Do you know how many times Timothy Omundson came up?
Aww.
Yeah, dude, you got like a fan base. It's not just the psychos. The psychos are the fans, the diehard fans from Psych.
Exactly.
Right. I just wanted to make sure. Now,
hey, by the way, I listened to the cast with Jensen Ackles yesterday. How's the what's going on with the skin cancer?
You got to bring up the skin cancer. Jeez.
Well, you brought it up.
Well, the reason I brought it up was,
I'm glad you did. I was going to tell you. Sorry.
Well, thanks. I brought it up because if there's anybody out there who just is like, I have like my dad won't check anything. Most people don't check anything. And the thing is, it's so easy to check something. This was growing and I was like, it's on my thigh. And then my friend Carrie's like, why don't you just go in and just let him look at it? So he said, yeah, it's probably nothing. Then they called me back and said, yeah, it's skin cancer, but we're not worried about it. We're going to go in deeper. We're going to, so the whole point, I didn't want to and I even said it, I think, on the show, like, hey, you don't have to tweet me and all these things. I just want you to know that just check yourself out. Now, but thank you for inquiring or asking about that. So that was
nice. But I thought it was really good that you brought it up because people do need to check that shit.
Yeah. I mean, with you, honestly, before you had the stroke, your health was pretty damn good, right?
That's the crazy thing. I was in the best shape of my life.
That's what James said. He said, this guy worked out religiously, lifting weights. You looked at him, you'd think he's indestructible.
That was actually the problem is between you and me, I was working out a CrossFit and did a super heavy deadlift. Like they were going personal best heavy in.
So you're doing a deadlift.
I was doing a deadlift and at one point saw stars. So what actually happened is I tore a carotid artery in the right side of my neck, which then led to eventually through a blood clot and hit the right side of my brain and took out the left side of my body.
Well, this freaks me out because I'm a hypochondriac at times. And the thought of going, you want to go a little more weight. You want to put some muscle on your body. And it's just like, if you're pushing too hard, you didn't, were you going harder than you ever thought it would cause any issues? No,
but in fact, the weight up until I put on more weight was fine. Like I knocked him out really easily. So yeah, I can put a little more on. Then it just, something went wrong and I don't know what it was.
And no symptoms, by the way. No, were there things leading up to I know you were at a film festival somewhere and.
Actually the night before while in the screening of the movie, as it was ending, I experienced the worst headache of my life, like a nice pick in the back of my head, just radiating, and I could not shake it no matter how much Advil I took. So that was the only symptom, which I wouldn't think is not a stroke symptom. Now I've come to understand that if you ever say I've had the worst headache of my life, you go to the hospital.
Doesn't that sort of, I know that when things I've had a lot of surgeries and things like that, but if God forbid I had a heart attack or a stroke or something like that, is it always in the back of your head that you're I should worry about that. I had a headache. Is it bad enough to go to the hospital? Are you on top of it? Or are you still not as crazy about it?
For me?
Yeah.
Headache wise, no. This headache was one I'd never had before.
And I
was in the middle of something, so I couldn't I couldn't just drop what I was doing to go to the hospital.
All right, so let's rewind. I didn't want to start with that. That's sort of what you kind of might end with, perhaps.
Sure.
But there's your mug with your face on it.
Nothing if not vain.
It's all right. You, by the way, you have great facial hair and a nice house. By the way, I like the roof there. Where are you right now? Where do you live?
This is the old little guest house in the back.
You have a guest house. I've always wanted a guest house.
Which, unfortunately, we didn't put the air conditioning on before I came out, so it's a zillion degrees. And I'm wearing a hot straw hat. So I'm taking it off.
So you have good hair too. So you're actually really hot right now during this interview. Is that what you're telling me? You're incredibly hot.
At the moment. You got me a little jacked up, Mike.
All right. So listen. So you grew up in Missouri in the Midwest. Not grew up, but I guess you were born there.
I was born in Missouri, left by the time I was 1, grew up in Seattle.
All right, so Missouri, throw Missouri away. You're not a Cardinal fan. You're nothing. You moved to Seattle. That's where you.
I have no knowledge of Missouri whatsoever.
Right, and so were your parents always by the way, I always ask this question, but were your parents pretty supportive growing up? Were they always whatever you want to do, loving, I love you, that kind of stuff?
No, I was very, very lucky and coming from a very supportive family and loving, and it was great. And they were both kind of into the arts. So took me to the theater, took me to the symphony. And then once I said I wanted to be an actor, they were great.
Really? Great. Because my dad, I told him at Denny's once, I said, I'm going to be an actor. He's like, eat your steak. I remember it. And it was after a play in college. He's like, come on, you're going to college here. You're going to be an actor. Because if you think about it, if you're a father, you're like, what are the odds that my son's going to make it? He's not. Most likely he's not. If you are betting on this, you bet against your son. I mean, that doesn't sound right.
By the way, if you're going to go for steak, go to Denny's.
Exactly. That was, he took us to Denny's, but I didn't mind Denny's. But, to have your parents' support, I always say, you could always tell when you meet someone if they had a good upbringing. Most of the time. Like I've seen some interviews with you. There's just this genuine, gentle soul that's just a good heart. People talk about you so, overwhelmingly. And so I knew you were going to say I had a good upbringing before I even knew anything about you. I knew it because I could just tell by your, disposition or the way you carry yourself. And there's just a certain confidence. There's a certain, it seems like you don't stress out about the little things, do you?
I try not to.
Well, what stresses you out? Were your parents, they never fought? They never, you had no dysfunction? You didn't deal with a lot of adversity growing up, you think?
No, I mean, I really didn't. There was underlying grumblings behind the doors, but nothing. There were no plates being thrown.
I could tell you some stories.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a small, my whole family was from New York, but we moved from we lived in Connecticut for 2 years, and then we moved to Indiana. My dad was he was 19 when I was born, and then he was 25 when my brother was born. He already adopted my brother and sister from my mom's first marriage. So look, it was a shit show, but having parents that are taking you to the theater and doing all these things, and there's love, and they were open. They're like, I love you, Timothy. Timmy, I love you so much. You always felt that, right?
Yeah. In fact, my dad always made a point of saying it, which was
every day he said it.
Not every day, but he just wanted to make sure that I know I was loved.
Oof, that is so important. People don't realize how important it is to just tell your kid, I love you. And in the mind, even if they're a fuck up or you're worried about, they're not doing exactly what you thought they'd be doing, just to give them that, hey, I love you no matter what. That is a huge thing for someone to hear, especially, growing up, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a little, when you're 12 years old and your dad's standing there, she's saying, hey, just, I love you. You're like, what the fuck, man? Okay, great. Thanks, Dad.
Did you say what the fuck, Dad?
No, of course not. I swear my father would have.
He would have what?
He would have been rather cross with me.
Oh, he wouldn't have loved you to death.
I would have gotten the Omundson eyebrow, and I can't imagine ever swearing in front of my parents.
What's the Omundson eyebrow?
It was the right. I can't do it anymore since the stroke, but pretty classic, the eyebrow raise.
Really?
Like an arched eyebrow.
Oh, so since the stroke, you can't do that? Because I can't I don't look at you and think there's anything wrong, or not working on you, but what are the things that aren't working?
If I'm sitting next to my dog and my dog licks my left ear, I can't feel it in this, or licks the side of my face. But I know the eyebrow doesn't work anymore. Now it's just both go up, where the eyebrow before was sort of a trademark of my work. I was able to convey a lot of emotion with an arched eyebrow.
Do you try? Are there exercises? Are there things that they're saying this could come around? This could come around.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I haven't really talked to them about that part. It's more of the vocally, I'm not what I used to be.
What do you mean?
Used to have this sort of really rich, deep baritone voice, which is not kind of really throaty, and just when we were texting about being articulate. Right. I didn't mean intellectually articulate. I meant I get a little mush mouthed. I tend to speak too fast now and just run on. So I really do have to work on slowing down my rate of speech because everything gets a little garbled. So you purposely do that. You purposely slow down the way you talk just because you want to make sure you're articulate enough or whatever. Actually, I don't do it enough. It's not something that's right that I think about enough. I think my text back to you was just hang out with me for half an hour and you'll feel so articulate. It was something like that. Yeah, you will feel incredibly articulate. It's funny you brought up my skin cancer thing earlier because I'm wearing a hat. I wear a hat anyway. It doesn't matter. I don't care. But I went in there to get a body check before they take the thing, they rip the rest of it out of me. And he goes, oh, let me take that thing off your nose. I'm like, what? He's like, it's pre-cancer. No big deal. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So it's just threw around the word pre-cancer? Yeah, I mean, it's he's like, look, you're going to live your life normally. You're not going to worry about these things. You're going to go about your business, and this is what it is. And that's kind of a really good message in a lot of ways. Look, if he thought, he's obviously be smart, wear SPF and these things like this. By the way, I know we're kind of going back and forth, but do your doctor say, these are certain things I don't want you to eat. These are certain things I don't want you to do. There's got to be a list of things that they kind of tell you, right? Sure. What are those things? With me, it was don't smoke. And obviously it's just the stroke. It's that. Not that I really smoked, but, And then, watching my cholesterol is one for me. I mean, I'm 51 now. So again, we're going back to working out, and we were working out. We're talking about the pre-stroke. So I'd lost a bunch of weight. I'd always been sort of a little skinny fat. Got a little belly I was trying to lose. So I was doing super hardcore cardio and lost a bunch of weight, and that's when I wanted to put on some weight. So I wanted to put on some muscle. Thus the weightlifting.
And that can be very dangerous, obviously.
Which I just found out the hard way.
Right, so you weren't getting help necessarily to do all these things to build, body mass or whatever, but you were doing it on your own, but reading about it and things like that, correct?
No, I mean, I was going to CrossFit, so I was doing lifting there, I'd done CrossFit for years, and eventually got to the point where like, I don't need to lift these weights anymore. And then because I'd got so skinny and I wanted to put some weight on, I would say, so my vanity almost killed me. Welcome to fucking Hollywood, being an actor.
Fuck, it's so funny too, because I don't think people always talk about overweight and how they're trying to lose weight. And I've always been real thin. In fact, I always got picked on or taught, you're skinny, or, I didn't
look at these guns.
Yeah, well, but I was always skinny, but it's just as hard because I always want to gain weight. I got to lift muscles because, I have friends that are like, you look too skinny, Rosenbaum. You got to gain some weight. And I'm like, fuck, so I'll hit the gym and, it's hard. It's hard to gain weight. It's hard to maintain weight, just as it is hard to lose weight and stay.
And I think for actors, it's like people don't realize. Everyone talks about sort of girls and their issues, but for men, like what the checkouts are, there's men's fitness there, and just as much as there's all the magazines that maybe women are more looking at.
Yeah,
we're seeing Hugh Jackman all jacked up, and
Hugh Jackman all jacked up. That's one of those tongue twisters you say before you do a play.
After a stroke, that's hard too.
Do you do those? Because I know in theater we do those rubber baby buggy bumpers. He thrusts his fist against the post and still.
Yeah, see, those are so hard now.
But does it help you when you keep doing that for speech and things and articulation?
Yeah, I think it does. Even sort of like I'm trying to do some warm-ups, so just like vocal range warm-ups before I'm talking for a long time.
Yeah.
But did I do them today? No, I didn't.
You didn't.
So I can't bitch him out about being all mush mouth.
I think you sound fine. You know what? I was going to start kind of like from the beginning in a way and work, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. This is kind of all together, because I guess the big picture is you're a great actor. You're incredibly funny. You've had a lot of success, and there's so many ideas and things that I have, and I usually think about, a lot of guests think it's therapy for me, and it is, but it's therapy for everybody else. And it's like, how do you look, you have two, beautiful daughters, and you have a wife, and you're a good, loyal guy. And, there's probably no moment in your mind where you're like, oh my God, fuck this. I don't want to be alive. You never thought that, I guarantee.
No, not for me. No, mental health, what you're talking?
Yeah.
I know I've been very fortunate in that regards, where that's not something I ever really struggled with.
That's a gift. That really is a gift. It's like, because I know a lot of people, probably including myself, when something happens, there's something about it. Even when I've had these big surgeries and I'm 8 months out and I'm in horrible pain and popped up on pills. Do you say popped up on pills or pumped up on pills?
I always thought it was hopped up.
Well, whatever. This is why you're the articulate one here. Hopped up on pills, and you're like, it's almost there comes a point in your life where you're like, I'm young, I'm indestructible, I could do anything, and boom, reality hits you, and like surgery, this, that, and you're like, wow,
I mean, one of the things with post-stroke that's been a big sort of topic around my life and people who know me and people who don't know me asking me, like, how do you maintain this attitude? Because I kind of made the decision really early on that a pity party wasn't going to help me. There was a counselor at the clinic I go to a neuro rehab clinic every day. In the early stages of my rehab, there was a counselor I would see. And I sat down one day and she was like, how are you? I'm like, I'm great. She goes, yeah, that's what everybody says. All the therapists say you're great. What's going on? How do you do it? And we talked for a while. I was like, I don't know. I think the big point was like, I would say my parents were Depression era. Like, you don't bitch and whine.
Wow.
I remember being in the ICU and it kind of slowly started to sink into what happened to me. Because like right after the stroke, like I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair. I'm not able to walk with a cane shorter distances.
Now you walk with a cane shorter distance.
So I really had to rehab to learn how to walk. And I still wear a leg brace because the muscles around my left ankle can't support me. So if I weren't wearing the brace, would just buckle and I would go down. and my left hand doesn't work. So I'm doing therapies for that. And that's slow, but it's a little bit better than it was. Like before, there used to be absolutely nothing in my arm, but now I've got a little shoulder movement. So I'm making slow progress. But anyway, so as it was sort of hitting me what the hell was going on, I literally said to myself, wait a second, you became a successful actor. You beat Hollywood. The stroke's nothing. Like recovering from a stroke, like I can do this.
What a way, see, to put things in perspective like that. I mean, was it like that from the get-go? Take me back to the point where you wake up in the emergency room or in the hospital and your wife's there. Is she with the kids? And like, what's going through your mind and what's going through her mind and what?
So when the stroke first hit me, I was in a bathroom in the Tampa airport and I collapsed. My left leg went out from under me. I collapsed, got up, collapsed again. I guess someone got me out into the waiting area where there were some paramedics came and tended to me, and there a bunch of people shouting at me, and they're doing the stroke checklist of show us your teeth, tell us your name, what year is it, who's the president, and I was still with enough to think. I mean, my normal joke could have been, haven't I suffered enough? But I was with enough to think, wait a second, you're in Florida. These are first responders. These are probably Trump people. Don't crack wise. You need these guys on your side. Don't be an asshole right now.
Right.
So I was thinking that clearly enough to do that. And then I remember being putting on a gurney, and I'm in the back of the ambulance. My legs are kind of up like this, and I remember looking at the texture of my jeans. I just noticed the weave of the fabric, and it kind of hit me like, this is not good. You got a wife and kids. This is not fucking good. And actually, as I was waiting for the paramedics to come in, or whoever was going to come take care of me, we were sitting in the waiting area. I kept falling off the stool because I was trying to lean on this side and not realizing my left arm wasn't working. So I remember sitting there and thinking, not knowing what the hell's going on. I kept falling down. I'd stand up and fall down. Then people gather around me and yelling. I remember shit, something's not right. Oh, fuck, I never did that in case of emergency thing on your phone. You're supposed to put ice. So at one point, they're talking to me, and I told them to call my wife, and I gave them my wife's phone number. And I said, eventually they're like, okay, we got your wife on the phone. I'm like, yeah, don't freak her out, okay? And they're like, yeah, it's not going to happen. But for my wife's side of the story, it's cut to them screaming at her on the phone. Your husband's had a stroke. Get to Tampa immediately. So the worst fucking moment of this poor woman's life.
Oh my God.
And it's like 7:00 in the morning. So then she makes some emergency phone calls to her best friend and some other dear friends of ours who swoop in and grab our kids and take care of them. And then it was only like months later, after I'm home, that my oldest daughter, Lily, confided to her mom that she was just in such terror for a really long time, not knowing what was going on, just knowing that I was sick and in a hospital. So it really, I mean, for as much as it affected me, much more beyond that, it's affected everyone in our household.
Oh, so it's almost like, you go probably through a process in a sense. I mean, this is extreme. It's probably not a good analogy. I'm not full of great analogies, but if someone passes away, you go through all these stages, right? You go through, or any kind of loss, you go through, the grief, the anger, all these things. There's probably in a sense, like this happened to dad. We're going through this. It's the trauma of it all. And then dealing with it, all these stages that they have to go through as well. I assume.
Absolutely. In fact, I think it affected my daughter, Nora, probably more than it affected Lily. She's just a little more sensitive. So I think she absorbed it a little more. So at one point Alice and I sat them down. We're all still trying to grasp what the hell happened. And with the thing like with the brain injury, you don't know what you don't know until it kind of presents itself. Like for me, because it was a right side injury, it affects different things. It affects the left side. Right hemisphere injury will affect the left side of your body. Then there's other subtle things that go with it, like attention. Like I couldn't look somebody in the eye. Like it just took me forever to like look at somebody in the eye because I'd get distracted and go off. And it really bothered my youngest daughter that I didn't look her in the eye when I talked to her. But that's something I really had to work on. And once I was made aware of it through my cognitive therapist.
How long did something like that take?
It was ongoing for months, I would say, until finally I would get a little better. And she would sort of make a note of, oh, Dad's getting better. He's looking me in the eye now. So anyway, Allison, my beautiful wife, and I sat the girls down. We're like, okay, look, this happened, obviously, and it sucks. So we got to figure out what the message is here. I said, the best I can sort of do is, I think the lesson here is bad things happen in life. but it's how you respond to them that define you. So part of my recovery, my drive to get better was always about, I got to get better for these girls. And I got to keep working for them and try and get back to something. I mean, about a week before I had my stroke, Lily and I were hiking up in Runyon Canyon. Where we used to hike. I mean, she and I wouldn't hike every day. I would hike every day. But a lot of times she would come with me with my dog. It's like, I got to get back to that canyon spot. Just, in fact, there's a lot of things I got to get back to. But one of the overwhelming driving forces was always my girls and my family. I mean, it's crazy when this happened too, because I was at the zenith of my career. And then professionally, and then personally, Allison and I just bought like the house for our dreams. We've been waiting 10 years to buy. We were literally in escrow when it happened. So I'm in the ICU. She flies in with her best friend, Jensen. Thank you, Jensen. And two of my best friends from high school and my best friend from LA. They all fly in to kind of take care of her. And she's fielding calls from our mortgage broker about, are we pulling out of this deal? And I was I put the torch about it because I was not in my quite right mind. I would sort of wake up out of these fever dreams going, keep the house. I want the house. I kept there was this pool and I kept dreaming of rehabbing in that pool.
Right.
So I wake up, she's like, we got to make a decision. I'm like, keep the house. Keep the house. My financial advisor was in Florida and he drove in. He's like, don't keep the house. We thought we had enough money for it. He's like, unforeseen medical expenses, because that's all I'm going to say. And thank God we didn't keep the house, because obviously my career kind of came to a massive halt. I mean, I'm working a little bit, but certainly not to the level I was before. So my income is certainly up in question.
It's incredible. I mean, I can't even imagine. And by the way, do you have any strokes in the family history?
No, my grandmother had one, but that was an old age kind of stroke.
Right.
But mine was this weird thing, like, you never realize that young people have strokes.
Our friend Rob Benedict, Rob Benedict had one.
Of course, yeah, Rob Benedict, my dear friend from Supernatural.
Right.
Who you opened for his band.
Yeah, I love him. He's such a great guy.
He's the best. So Rob had a stroke, and which they never really came to the bottom of what happened. But he also had a carotid artery dissection. His was on the left side, the left side affects your speech more. So he's actually been really instrumental in helping me sort of come to this and guiding him my way of. So I would look at him a lot and see how far he's coming. Like, he's come incredibly far.
Inside of You is brought to you by Nutrafol. Another product that my friends love. Nutrafol sent me some products, and talk about easy to use capsule. My friends grabbed it. They're like, "You don't need this." I'm like, "Hang on," but I ended up giving a bottle to my friend Joe. I gave it to my friend Tom, and to one of my girlfriends, Tanya. So, it's guys, it's girls. 80 million men and women in the U.S. experience thinning hair. It's just common, okay? And it's still not openly talked about, which can make going through it feel scary and stressful, and that just adds to the problem. I think if you could fix it, if you could do something about it, and it's easy, Nutrafol. Control isn't given, it's taken. Take charge of your hair growth and make the next few months your time to grow thicker, fuller, healthier hair.
In a time when self-care is more important than ever, every day is an opportunity to skip damaging styling tools and chemicals and focus on better hair growth from within.
What I love about Nutrafol, it's a physician-formulated, 100% drug-free. Did you hear that? Drug-free. They use natural, clinically effective botanicals for better hair growth through whole body health.
Does it work? Yes. In clinical studies, Nutrafol users saw thicker, stronger hair growth with less shedding in 3 to 6 months.
80% saw improved hair growth and thickness in a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study of Nutrafol for women by a board-certified dermatologist. Whether you're experiencing thinning or not, you deserve hair as strong as you are. Nutrafol can help you achieve your best hair growth naturally. So you could join my friends, because people all over are using Nutrafol. You can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com and using the promo code INSIDE to get 20% off. This is their best offer available anywhere.
Plus free shipping on every order. Get 20% off at Nutrafol.com, promo code INSIDE.
Their best offer anywhere. 20% off at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code INSIDE for hair as strong as you are. Inside of You is brought to you by Echelon. I love this company. I have their products here at my house. To be able to, I'm a bit of a hermit, and I have some, I have bad back, bad neck. Things happen in the course of a life. What's great is I can go downstairs and use the rower and work on my back. I could do the mirror and take a boxing class or a stretching class or a yoga class. It's all there for you with Echelon. And, one of my good friends, Erica Christensen, you might remember her from Parenthood. She's been raving about it. She's been posting about it. My friend Laura Vandervoort, she got one. She's been raving about it. So there's no secret. You know, my trainer always says, you know what the secret is? There's no secret. You got to just do it. You get one and you start feeling better about yourself.
Echelon offers the next generation of connected fitness bikes, fitness mirrors, rowing machines, and their all-new Echelon Stride Smart Treadmill. No matter what your favorite fitness activity, Echelon gives you a fun and challenging workout from the comfort of home.
Their world-class instructors will motivate you with thousands of daily live and on-demand studio-level classes, always available when you need them. And unlike their competitors, Echelon is affordable for everyone. And one membership lets up to 5 family members all work out at the same time. When it comes to getting or staying in shape, nothing feels as good as the feeling of accomplishment, of hitting your fitness goals and feeling great about yourself.
Right now, you can try any Echelon fitness equipment at home for 30 days.
Yeah, just go to echelonfit.com/inside of you. That's ECHELON fit.com/inside of you. You know, you said something while you're in the ambulance, I believe. You said you saw the texture on your pants, right? You just were staring at it. And you were just hyper-focused on it with all this craziness happening. You're saying, this is bad. I just remember like when my grandmother died, who was like, I just loved this woman more than, it was my first real terrible loss. And I remember, hearing on the answer machine, and it was like my aunt. She was like, Michael, it's Denise. Please call me back as soon as you can. And I just knew. And I remember, the cottage cheese ceiling, that texture. There was one dark dot. I think I've talked about this, but on the ceiling. And I just remember staring at it for 15 minutes and just sort of just zoned in on it, kind of taking, it was just this hyper-focused, like, evaluation of how are you going to deal with this? Prepare yourself. And
everything sort of becomes that Hitchcock sim.
Exactly. And it was like, this is what you have to do. And I went from absolute fear and just devastation to, I've got to call my mother and tell her that our mother's dead. I'm the one who has to call these people. I have to be the sane one, which, I mean, look at me, Timothy. It's not easy to say that, but it's just, I mean, you can sit here and you're obviously incredibly brave. And I just keep thinking, such a great actor, and you are. And then right after this, they're able to, for Psych, they're doing a movie, Lassie Returns, which is kind of a twist on your character's name, right?
Yeah, my character's called Lassiter, and
right.
His nickname was Lassie, so it was called Lassie Come Home. If we're going to be official with the titles,
and they had to refigure the script to kind of get you. They wanted to get you in there.
Yeah, so especially we did 2 movies. The first movie happened as I was while I was in the big throes of my recovery. They were filming the first movie. So James Roday and Steve Franks, our creator of the show, hold up at Joey's right across the street from the Sun Place Hotel in Vancouver, which was our clubhouse. They sat there for 3 days and rewrote the entire movie to get me into a cameo, which, by the way, we shot right back here. So they wanted to make sure I could get in the movie to make my insurance to get paid. So they reduced my role down to a FaceTime call with Maggie Lawson. And again, just the love of these guys showed for me to get me in the movie. And then the second movie was really all about his recovery. I'm just thinking, so we were back here shooting in the guest house, we showed the scene, and then at the end I'm standing sort of outside here in the backyard, and I asked James to help me walk to the front of the house. And I was walking with a stick, and he goes, hey, remember when you couldn't walk at all? was like, oh shit, I do. That's right. I couldn't walk. So it's little moments like that where, there was this, when I was in this clinic, we would every now and then have like a group chat with someone would be asked to speak. And there was this guy there who was a little older, sort of very salt of the earth. And I think he was a farmer, but he could have been a longshoreman for all I know. But he was talking about how he hated being in the clinic. And before the clinic, we were in, I call it a halfway house for strokes. Because you're in sort of a residential living facility, kind of learn how to take care of yourself a little bit in whatever ways you can. But so they're watching, it's suddenly you go from being a very private person to having eyes on you 24/7. This guy was talking about living in this fishbowl and how much he hated it. But then he said the best thing that I ever heard, and I've really taken it with me and taken it hard, where he said, honor the milestones. So with recovery, you really have to honor the milestones, to think back like, oh, that's right, I used to not be able to walk. I have a photo album on my phone, I call my recovery album, of just videos of me when I started learning how to walk again. And just every kind of little milestone of like trying to get my hand to move. I spent a lot of time sort of texting people, voice messaging with people and sending videos back and forth with friends in the UK. So I look back at those and just to see where my voice was then. And
what's amazing is, you're doing this. And the one thing that comes to mind for me is, shouldn't we be doing that all the time in life where we're like, hey, take this moment, man. This is a great moment in your life. Take this moment. Don't go past it. Just say, hey, this is an achievement. You've accomplished this. This is and I think we do that. I know I do it constantly where it's like being grateful, but in your position, it's like the condition you're in, you're like, you could think, how can I be grateful? But like every step along the way, it's like these achievements and you're like, I am going in the right direction. I am getting better. I'm able to walk. I wasn't walking. This is, oh my God. People take for granted, like I could see things every day. Some people can't. Yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty powerful stuff. It's just, I try to go to bed every night and say, what are you grateful for? Don't think of all the shit you haven't done. Don't think of all the bad things you're going to say about yourself and then go into nightmares, because that's the stuff that gets you into nightmares. Why don't you think, positive things? And so it's just amazing. I will say, like, the cast, I mean, were the cast from Supernatural and the cast from Psych, unbelievable. Did they come? When was the first time they saw you? I mean, when they came and saw you, or
let's see. I know Maggie and James Dulé came to visit me in my rehab clinic, and I had lunch with them one time. And one of my physical therapists, hey Rebecca, I don't know if you're going to see this, but
hey Rebecca,
was a huge Psych fan and said that Psych was the show that got her through med school. So it kind of tricked me out, like, here's this woman who's helping me to relearn how to walk, and Psych is the show that helped get her through that really tough part of college to do that.
Wow. Who didn't keep their shit together? Someone had to cry immediately when they saw you.
No, they were all pretty stunning.
Really? None of them, they're like, because there's that thing where we got to be strong. We got to make them laugh. We got to do everything. I'd be like, oh, Timothy, oh, fuck, man, fuck. I
assume they were crying on the inside, but trying to be strong for me.
Right.
But I don't know, in fact, and then while I was really recovering, those guys were all filming the movie. And while they were filming, they would send me videos of, we had this tradition on our show, singing happy birthday. You have to ask Magda, that's when you ever on. I was singing happy birthday to someone. Like if there was a guest star we really loved, or director, somebody we really like got along with, who was sort of like one of us, and they were wrapped, we would sing happy birthday. But it was more than just happy birthday. It meant we love you. And Marco Ciccone, who was our camera operator, who shot every scene I think we ever did in that series, he was sort of hit the first note. And we all had there was like a band, there's a crew band. So he would hit the first note of just this big old ha, and we all knew it was on. And then this entire crew would sort of hit the note, and 200 people would sing this amazing harmony version of Happy Birthday. And the person we were singing to was like, what the fuck is going on? and then we'd applaud. And so it was just our way. It's just our little way of saying, hey, you're one of us. You're one of us. We love you.
Right.
And so while I was recovering and they were shooting the movie, they came up with Team Tim. And they would send me videos of them shooting in Vancouver, singing Happy Birthday to me, which, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that got me through all this. Friends like that and friends outside of that show that really just held me together and kept me motivated to go. And then while I was shooting that scene with Maggie, my FaceTime scene back here,
Right.
she was obviously in Vancouver. She said the story. The entire crew kind of gathered around her to support her while she was shooting, because it was a really emotional scene for her character and me. So she apparently was a mess that day. And our first lady came up and said, "Look behind you." And she saw the whole crew just like waiting there for her.
Oh.
To represent me. Just the most amazing group of people.
By the way, the happy birthday song, were there any people that at the end of their shooting, they didn't get a happy birthday song because no one could stand them?
There might have been. I'm not going to name names.
I had to think you just couldn't say. It would be kind of like, if you did it for everybody, that's really kind. But if you're saying you loved working, it means we love you. There had to be a few where you're like, I ain't singing this fucking song. And I certainly am not harmonizing for this asshole.
But off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly which. We had so many amazing guests on that show. I can't remember which ones.
Right.
Get that thing, but.
That's amazing.
And on our show, like, because it was Vancouver, if you came up for the weekend, if you came into the show, you're going to be there for the weekend. There was going to be a dinner. There were going to be drinks, if you drink. So we were a really social group and social with our guest cast.
Right. Yeah, I always heard it was like one of the best shows to work on. It was just incredible from so many people. It was always like psych, the people. And it was so easy and so fun. And, James and Factulay, they said something like they just wouldn't allow assholes to come on set.
There was a total no asshole policy.
They're like, yeah, they'd make a call and go, hey, this guy's not this can't happen. You can't.
And actually that policy, that attitude of it being a great show, which we all took great pride in it being a place you want to come and work on. That really came from James and Dulé. I know which ones. I don't know who's going to claim the most.
I'm sure they'll fight over
James because I think James was number one on the call sheets. We'll give him most credit there. But Dulé was definitely a massive part of that.
Well, let me ask you this: how hard is it to be realistic with too optimistic with what your doctors are telling? Because you hear stories where they'll say, "Oh, you're never going to walk again," and then the guy's running marathons. You hear stories, so you can never really believe when doctors say, this is as good as it's going to get. Is there a big part of you that's like, 5 years from now, I'm going to be able to do 90% of what I used to be able to do, or 70% or 80?
Nobody's ever really said, you're never going to do this again or that again. Although at the time, which I didn't realize this, I learned this later, they apparently told my wife that my neurosurgeon was afraid I was never going to walk again. I walked into a restaurant with I was meeting my manager and my agent for dinner. And every time they're like, oh, fuck, look at you walking now. Because restaurants are hard because there's usually stairs, and I have a vision break on my left side. So anytime we're walking into a room, it's overwhelming. So to be able to walk into a restaurant that I'd never been at and get to the table and sit down and go, geez, look how good you're walking. Then Allison told them that. And I was like, wait, why did you ever tell me this? I do remember very specifically being in the ICU, and every day my surgeon, Juan Valdivia. Hey, Juan, shout out Juan.
Juan Valdivia. Thank you for
like one of the best neurosurgeons in the state was on call that night. And I got to have dinner with him a few months ago, when obviously pre-COVID.
Was he blown away by your recovery?
It was very sweet. But every day he would come in, and we talked to the story actually. And he reminded me of the number of the bed I was in. And he would squeeze my left foot to see if I could feel it. And I could never feel it. So one day they wheel me into a room, and he shows me my CAT scan. And this portion is all gray. And I remember thinking, oh, gray matter. It really is gray matter. But it was totally shadowed. Like, because you could see where the stroke was. Like, there was so much brain damage on that side. He said, so this is where you had your stroke. It was massive. Because I got to tell you, most people would not have survived a stroke like this. Which I kind of sat back and was like, what do I do with that information? It's like, fuck, now what do I do?
Wow.
I guess I got to come back from this. One thing I do wonder about, you talk about, I think you said bravery.
Yeah.
Handsomeness. Well,
of course. Style. Talent.
Overwhelming talent.
Mm-hmm. SAG insurance.
For now, as long as I can keep it.
You will.
But part of the bravery thing, and it's really, a lot of people have reached out and saying, you're an inspiration, and that's really lovely. In fact, I've got this, I'm going to show off my fancy shirt. My daughter designed this.
Unbroken.
It says Unbroken.
I love it.
So we were selling these through a company called Stands to help raise money for the Stroke Association to bring awareness to stroke survival, stroke prevention and rehab. But part of the Unbroken thing, I just want to, it's not a brand new idea, but you can think about how you can bend a stick or tree branch to a certain point until it breaks. I just could like, I'm not broken yet. I'm unbroken. And so through this and meeting other stroke survivors, get a lot of really lovely interaction, people saying I'm inspirational. But part of, I really do want to address the burglary part. Part of early on of me going, yeah, I'm fine. I'm not going to wallow in it. I'm not going to sit and wallow. I'm not going to have a pity party in the corner. Where that's one thing. I mean, mourning your physical health or mental health or emotional health. I mean, a lot of ways I feel like maybe I haven't really even dealt with it. So I haven't really delved into what I can't do. I really try and focus on what I can do rather than what I can't do. But I don't know how brave it is. But where I haven't really sat in it too much because I'm almost afraid. And my wife and I talked about this a little bit. I'm almost afraid if I do get there, if I do go to that point, I'll get really angry and maybe won't be able to recover from that. So I've just been sort of stiff upper lip. But again, I don't know if that's the healthiest way to go.
Well, it's got to be braver
analysis and really delve into it.
Yeah, because it amazes me. I think, gosh, how many breakdowns would I have had within the first, month? Like, God, why the? Oh my God, just like, what? I'm sure, and it's just like, everyone has different ways of dealing with it, but it's amazing. I think what I gather, briefly what we talked about in the beginning, just this upbringing and this love, and then you think about your family and suffering through the depression. You've got these two wonderful girls, you've got this wife, and you've been so lucky. Somehow in your mind, you've been sort of programmed inadvertently or whatever that, that's why you were able to put things in perspective like you did. The way you handled it is the way that's of course how Tim is going to handle it. Now,
I think a big part of it also is I was always an optimist. I mean, I was always a what's on the other side of that hill kind of guy. I mean, I think you got to be an actor. Because you come into this town and you're like, I'm going to try to do this thing that they give you the numbers. You're like, if you really listen to the numbers, no one would ever really try this. She's like, of course nobody's going to work. Nobody's going to succeed. So because I've always been, yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see what's over there. Let's keep going, moving forward. And I've always been it could always be worse kind of guy. I mean, I have a friend with a terminal disease. So it's like, what am I going to sit here and bitch and want to cry because I can't walk, I can't run or hike like I used to? So it's like, you really just, I have to look around. I've got plenty of friends with MS who are having really difficult times. So I know a lot of people that are in much worse situations than me. And I think just having a perspective of positivity has helped me kind of look at things differently now when I'm in the situation.
Yeah. And knowing you're loved, by the way, knowing the overwhelming amount of love that you've been given, that's
massive.
It's massive. I think that has to be such a big part of just like so many people are rooting for you, and like the fans and the psychos and it's just I could tell, in having that, being loved that much. I mean, being loved is important alone, but being loved that much has got to give you the strength or help with the strength to get through things.
It really does. I mean, it absolutely does. Knowing that there's people out there who give a shit of how I'm doing that day. And there's days I don't want to go to the clinic. Like, I'm tired. Ah, fuck this. My leg hurts. But I think of my friends who are rooting for me. And the people in the different fandoms out there who are just so pulling for me and reaching out in various ways. It's like, I got to get up off my ass. I got to go do this. Because in a way, I don't want to let them down. I don't want to let my kids down. I don't want to let myself down, my wife down. Maggie and I always had this saying on the show. Like, it doesn't matter how great a job is. I've always tried to think of, I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work.
Yeah, that's nice.
One of my best friends from Seattle is an ER nurse, like during COVID. So he's under incredible stress, and we check in quite a bit. And our friend Mike is a very positive man. And Darren, at the end of a really long day, will kind of check and go, I get to help some really vulnerable patients that were sick today. It's like, really, like, he just faces every morning waking up to going, this is what I get to do. These are the people I get to help. Yeah. And he goes like, well, thank God you got out of bed that day. So several years ago, I can't do time anymore, so I don't remember when it was. I really can't. No, you're smiling. I can't tell you like, oh yeah, it was 10 years ago. Could have been 5 years ago. Could have been 20. But somewhere during Psych, I don't remember which season, I was fortunate enough to get to go to the Middle East to visit troops. So I was in Qatar for a week at place called Camp Al Saleh, which was the main R&R base for both Iraq and Afghanistan. So soldiers were coming in literally from the field for a couple of days, for like 4 days of ER or R&R. And you were just there. I'm not saving lives, just sitting there shoot the shit with these men and women and tell them they're appreciated. And one day I'm talking to this young guy. I'm like, hey man, how do you like the base? Like, there's a pool, there was a bar, and there's a nice gym. And like, how do you like this? I mean, what do you think? Is this okay? And he goes, sir, they give me 3 beers a day, and nobody's trying to kill me. It's A-okay. And that really just pierced my heart. 3 beers a day, because they would give you a ticket for like, you could get 3 beers in the bar. So I went back to the set of Psych and told Maggie the story. Whenever we get a little bitch here about, our trailers are too far from, no matter how, again, no matter how great a job is, there's always something that pisses you off. Like, our trailers are how far from the set? I got to walk how far? What?
And then you'd say,
I'm only getting how long for lunch? So if we get a little snippy, she could look at me, or I could look at her and go, hey, Maggie, 3 beers.
A-okay.
Shut the fuck up and quit whining, bitch.
Right.
What asshole if she's talking to me.
Well, look, it's amazing how you put things in perspective. And I know you say that this is, look, I mean, that's what happens. You make a decision. It's like, I could either crumble or I could, but like overall, do you really think I'm going to be back on my feet and I'm going to be acting, I'm going to get strong? Is there a reality to it in terms of like, or do you just say, I'm going to keep going as hard as I can to get, I mean, what do you want? What do you want to do? Where do you see yourself 5-10 years from now?
God, that's the $1 million question. I really don't know. All I know is I just need to keep plugging away, because I do see myself my walking's getting faster and stronger. And my wife picks me up at the clinic and she'll say, how was school today? We'd call it school. It's like, you'll never know what I did in school today. You'll never believe it. So I can give her these updates. The other day I was able to, I was working on This Is Us, and I have a line on that show where I play a stroke survivor. And my line is, I'm just trying to walk 1 mile. My goal right now is to walk 1 lousy mile a day. So I kind of took that up, like, I just want to walk a mile. And so eventually one day I was able to get a half mile. And I was talking to my therapist, because you keep going, you'll get a mile and no problem. There was one day where I realized, I looked at my watch, the pedometer run, and I hit over 1.5 miles I was working on the treadmill in the morning, and when I got home at night, I started working on it again. So I took a picture of it and sent it to all my friends and say, look at this shit.
Wow. So
I readjust my goals. I know there's things that I want to do. I want to get back. I was a big fly fisherman. So I may never wade in a river again. My buddy who I go, Cliff, it's his birthday, I got to call Cliff. Remember to call Cliff.
Cliff, come on. He'll call you. I'll get back to you.
So, anyway, I was talking to Cliff, who's one of the main fish buddies. He's like, wading's overrated. Just sit in the boat with the beer. So, but you kind of need a left hand to work the line after you hook a fish. So these guys sent me, there's an adaptive rod holder that they sent me that I'm trying to work out. But I was able to there's a line in Last to Come Home, which is all about Lassiter's recovery from getting shot and having a stroke. Where I say, and it really mirrored a lot of what I was going through in my own life emotionally. And James and Steve were great about, just do it. So I was able to talk about, what if I don't get better? How am I going to teach Lily to fish with one? My daughter on the show's name is also Lily, which pissed Nora off, I think, a little bit, rightfully so. So I said, how am I going to teach my Lily to fly fish with just one hand? So these are things I really am trying to get to. But prognosis-wise, nobody really says it's going to be this or that. And even if they did, I got to go on. I know I'm getting better. There's something called neuroplasticity, which is the brain rewiring itself. So I've seen the effects of it with the fact that my left arm used to be entirely flaccid, and now there is some movement in it.
That's got to be a good feeling. I mean, it's in the beginning you're probably thinking, the road just seems so long, ahead of you, and then it's probably you hit a point where you're like, oh wow, these things are starting to happen. I'm seeing that's got to be really exciting to start to see this kind of go as time goes on. I mean, obviously you're probably a little impatient too. It's like, come on, fucking arm, or whatever.
Super impatient, yeah. But I know I got to put the work in to get there.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, the main thing I have, which I've got my sense of humor. That wasn't. Thank God that my wit wasn't taken away. Actually, James one day was like, "Is it just me, or did it get funnier after this trope?" God bless him. So it's like I still got my sense of humor and hope. I have endless amounts of hope. Hope is all we have. I was telling this to a stroke survivor reached out to me on Instagram the other day who was having a hard time. I was like, this, what you have is hope. So you just got to keep on that. And it's one thing. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I was able to fight. I was not overwhelmed by melancholia, if you want to call it, if you want to be an 1880s debutante, say, I've got melancholia. Like I wasn't overwhelmed, but I was able to go, I'm going to try and fight this. Well, obviously, there's a lot of people who don't have that ability to do that.
Well, it's certainly inspiring to hear someone, talk about that, and just hearing you say, this is what you have to do. The only way you're going to get better, if you're going to be melancholy and depressed and angry all the time, that's just making it's so much harder on yourself, obviously. But we don't think like that. But if you have the ability to make the decision to say, hey, I'm going to stay positive, I'm going to each achievement I have, I'm going to be grateful, and that's the direction I'm going. Hearing that from you, if someone's out there or other people that it's happened to, I think that is incredibly encouraging, and that can change someone's mindset because they could look at your progress.
Yeah, I think progress is really how you got to judge it. I mean, everybody's case is obviously different. People have, whether it's a stroke or traumatic brain injury, when your brain is affected, everybody's going to heal differently. Depends on how quickly they got help, how quickly they were able to get into therapy. And thank God I have health insurance that covers my therapy.
Yeah. All right. This is Shit Talking with Timothy Omundson. This is from my patrons who get to ask questions. So this is rapid fire. You could just go whatever you want, but shit talking. Although they're not really shit talking. Jennifer asked, Timothy, I love both Psych and Supernatural. Which character was more fun for you, Carlton or Kane?
How do you choose which baby you love the most?
Easily.
I would say Carlton.
That's hilarious. Then I would say Carlton. You're right.
The guy in the mug. I don't have a Kane mug. Well, I do have some Kane fan art over there, but I can't get a picture of that.
That got me. That was good. Dave P. It's obvious of the close-knit family atmosphere on the set of Psych. Does that spill over in everyday life? Do you get together with others on holidays, weekends, or a meal?
Yes. I mean, COVID's obviously broken that up. I think I spent the last 3 Christmas Eves with Maggie and James, which is weird thinking this year. It's like, oh, we're not going to be able to do they're not going to be able to come over for our Christmas Eve party. But Dule and I were just texting yesterday about trying to get together for a distance drink.
Yeah, I'll do a voice memo and I'll sing an 80s song. I go, who sings this? And James will immediately get it. And Dule goes, I don't give a shit. I don't care about that. I don't care about these songs. And then every once in a while he'll get one. But let's see. Chemistry, Danny, sorry, he already asked. The chemistry on Psych was just amazing. So that's the question. Daniel M., how much did you enjoy playing Almost God in Lucifer?
I enjoyed it immensely. It was very close to home. Obs. Like, finally the role that's right for me. God the almighty. Although I did, Tom Ellis's eyes are so freaking blue. So it's like, okay, I'm not competing with Tom.
Yeah, but, he seems like a nice guy.
A lot of it's like, shit, I'm being rivaled for my blue eyes. Damn it. So we lots of like crystal blue eye drops put in.
Did you love hearing that on set? That people go, gosh, your eyes look great. Would the makeup artist come over to you and go, Timothy, your eyes they just pop. You got that. Admit it.
Yeah, sure.
Of course. Your eyes are beautiful. Oh my gosh, they really pop. The angle, they have 100 mil on you, and it's right up to your chest, and it's just your eyes are just blue.
It was mostly the DP. It's like, buddy, these, how they doing? They good right now? We should this way or that way? Oh, that way? Okay.
Tilt down your chin.
Exactly where the light's perfect, and I won't move my head.
Hey, this has been incredible, and I already feel like I love you, and I want to hang with you. And again,
my friend, as soon as this COVID thing's over, you drink?
I'm not a big drinker, but I will come and have a drink for sure. I'm not like I won't drink. I just don't. I'll bring you over some. Welling and I made some wine that Stephen Amell, he was like, you want to have your own wine and your own labels and you taste them, and so they sold them on Knocking Point Wines or whatever, and we got to make all the stuff, and so I still have tons of bottles because I'm not a big drinker, but I'll bring you over a couple bottles.
I got a good porch.
We could sip there.
We'll do some porch sit.
I would love that. What does your doctor say about you drinking?
They're kind of like, well, you always want to take it easy. I did have a seizure once after a night of a few too many scotches and maybe one too many beers. but I also wasn't taking my seizure medication. So we realized I am susceptible to seizures, so I do have to be a little careful about that. Here's the one of the most tragic things about my stroke. Alcohol doesn't affect me the way it used to. So it takes a long time and a lot of booze for me to get a buzz going, which is really freaking sad. Does something for trying though.
Wow. Hey, lastly, go ahead. What?
No, the problem is I wake up with a lot of headaches.
You do always wake up with headaches?
Not always, but it's like I realize if I'm going to have, because I don't necessarily get a little buzz, I'll maybe keep drinking while watching some TV. My wife and I are binging TV at night. I'll have a few glasses of wine. Then, do I really want more? It's like, sure, I want more because I'm sitting here watching some TV, so I'll have another drink. Then in the morning I wake up like, why did I do that? It's not like I'm vomiting a hangover, but just like, ooh, that's a little sore. I mean, so I probably shouldn't be drinking, but no, I mean, my neurologist hasn't said no, don't do that.
Right. Says enjoy it, but be smart. You're like, but I don't get drunk so easily, so I have to drink more wine. Well, just take it easy.
Yeah, then it becomes sort of an overall whole thing of like, well, then maybe don't. It's like, why does my belly keep getting fat? Well, because I had so much red wine.
Hey, listen, on Larry King, you said someone who inspires you. And I thought that you guys knew each other, but you said Selma Blair.
I did say that. No, I don't know Selma. I think we were Instagram friends.
Well, I texted her after, and I sent her that. And she's like, oh my God, that is so, and she was so,
sweet.
She was so, I don't know, she really loved it. And I go, well, why don't you do an introduction on, so I think she's going to come and do an intro for this interview and just kind of talk about her thing for a little while, like, a few minutes and just, because it was like.
That's amazing. No, but she really does. She does inspire me. I mean, I just know her through her social media posts and see the struggle and how gracefully she's handling her struggles of, again, being a single mother and that wretched disease she has. And there's a gal who's never going to throw herself a pity party.
Yeah, she is freaking strong, and she's so honest and forthcoming, and just, she's an open book. That's what I've always loved about her, is that she is an open book. She's sort of like, this is who the fuck I am. And I give her a lot of credit for that. I've been learning how to do that more, especially having the podcast.
Actually, sorry to interrupt. She is really been an inspiration. If she's the one, because at the time when I first had the stroke, I was really kind of hiding the effects of it. Because I mean, I didn't want to work again. I didn't want suddenly a form of disability to hinder my possibilities of getting work. And so like I was really careful to never really have pictures in the wheelchair. And I mean, now it's kind of totally different. But Dule Hill, actually, we were shooting the second movie up in Vancouver, and we went out to Kids Beach, which is one of our favorite places, having lived in Vancouver so long. My kids were raised on the beach, and there's a wheelchair mat on the beach, which is lovely. So I was able to walk out on this mat and sort of stand there. And Allison, my wife, got a picture of me standing there, which is this picture that I absolutely love. And Dule's one is like, you need pictures of you in the wheelchair to inspire people to go, hey, look at this motherfucker. Like, he is living his life.
Yeah.
And it absolutely turned my head around. He was absolutely right. And then I looked at what someone posts and how just honest she was. And I realized how much it inspired me and thought, well, maybe I can help inspire some people as well, and to not be hiding this.
Well, you've done an amazing job of that. And I think it is helping a lot of people. It's going to help a lot of people. And, Rob Benedict telling his story on the podcast, Jamie Lynn Sigler telling her story about MS, and, and Selma, just people opening up, it just gives people hope. And at the end of the day, it's like, I always think, when my time goes, I just want to be able to say, hey, I help people. I had a good heart. I wanted to do what I could. Those are the things that I think that you take with you. And I don't think you think about them very often, obviously, when you're younger and you're going through Hollywood and you're like doing this and, and then one day you kind of go, well, if I could help someone, man, that is, to me, that's life. That, I always notice I'm the happiest and most emotional when I can help someone, and especially when it's altruistic, when it isn't like, it's sort of like you're doing it because you have to do it because you feel it. It's not because you're like, oh, this will be good for me. Oh, I'll get some press for this. That's not what it's about. I mean, I don't, you know what I mean? So yeah.
I never said when the local news would air stuff of celebrities, work in a soup kitchen over Thanksgiving. It's like, no, you want to keep that on the down low. I mean, obviously it's nice to help people, but it's like, hey, look at me feeding these poor people. Look how awesome I am. But sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Before that, you were saying
No, yeah, but like, it's the difference between people just like sort of doing it because they just want to do this, not because they're getting pressed for it. Like Mark Messier was a hockey player, right? NHL, great. I've said this before, I think. But he said, the character of someone when you watch them do things when the cameras aren't rolling, when you see how good of a person they are when the cameras aren't rolling. And that just sat with me. And it's like, that's exactly what it's about.
I mean, and the fact that you and I are lucky enough to have the platforms we do, it's like, how do I use this for something good? I mean, how blessed am I to have the social media following that I do, which is lovely for my ego, but it's like, how can I really do something to like, I'm not just checking my number of likes. I'm trying to do something positive in the world. I sort of hit a moment the other day where it's like the Flashback Fridays and Throwback Thursdays and Way Back Wednesdays. I found that I was just posting pictures where I looked awesome. I was like, look how cool I look in this picture. I'm going to post it. And then I tried to come up with something else, like where I would sort of post stuff for Gratitude Tuesday or Thankful Thursday. But just going, here was a moment where I was so grateful for.
Yeah. I think it's good to mix those up. There's no reason why.
I'm still posting pictures where I look awesome.
Yeah,
but
I was just going to say,
for the moment.
There's, the other day I posted an Instagram of me because they had this app on Snapchat. I don't even use Snapchat. I just use it for the little pictures and the things you could do to your face, and then I save them. I don't like use Snapchat, but it was a bald one, and I was Lex Luthor again. I was like, and I posted it, and people were like, "What the fuck?" And it looked so cool. I was like, "Holy shit, this is great!" But it's look. We have a platform, so I think it's great to say, "Oh, there's a really good picture of me. Here's the wonderful things I get to do." And hey, let's save lives here and let's help people. I think that all those things are good. Well, some
we
are
are
better.
Awesome, Michael.
We're really incredible. That's what the theme of this whole thing, this podcast was. There. So we've really done it.
I love us.
Yeah, good for us. Good for us, Timothy.
Attaboy, Michael.
Yeah, you too. Back at you. Well, listen, happy birthday, and. Dude, this has been great. I loved every minute of it, and I hope you had fun.
I had a lovely time talking to you. I can't wait to get to do this in person one of these days.
Yeah, we're gonna do the wine thing, and on
my porch with some wine.
And by the way, this is so good because so many people that they're just gonna. I think they're gonna love this. I mean, people love you, so I think this is gonna be really good for.
Well, thanks, man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna keep in touch and bother you every once in a while, so get used to it.
Rosie, say the word, man. I'll beat you to it.
All right. Much love to you, man. Thank you again.
I'm gonna say this, Rosie. I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
All right, buddy.
Bye, bud.
There you have it, guys. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe. And on YouTube, I love it. I love you watching the videos, telling me what you think. I do go back and respond to a lot of them. I look at all your responses and your messages, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And make sure you subscribe on the audio. Keep listening and telling all your friends. And we have a great episode coming up next week. It's going to be a big one. And I've been trying to get this person for a long time. So you're going to want to stay tuned to see who that is. I think you're going to really love it. You've seen him in everything. Once again, the handles, Ryan.
At Inside of You Pod on Twitter, at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, youtube.com/Inside of You.
That's correct. And go to stageit.com and type in Michael Rosenbaum. Follow me there to listen to, we'll let you know when we're playing a show. But remember, every last Saturday of the month, 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time shows, 2 shows. We play covers, new songs, Left on Laurel songs. It's a lot of fun. And a lot of the same people come back, and boy, do I love them and appreciate their support. And we, their prizes. So we Zoom people after the show, and we have a lot of fun doing it. I want it to continue, man. If I could just do music for the rest of my life, forget about it. And of course, the Inside You store, take 15% off. Inside, use the code INSIDE15. Go to the Inside You store. Tons of great stuff. Right now, why don't I read off the wonderful patrons that support the show and really are the reason, a lot of the reason why I kept this thing going before Westwood One came on. And that's been going great, and I hope it continues. But it doesn't continue without your support. So there you go. Also, I can't say anything, but there was some really cool. I had a really good conversation with someone last week about a potential job, maybe.
Oh,
it's just I'm not going to say anything. All I'm going to say is it is something I think that I would like to do.
I think you should do it too.
Well, let's not talk about it anymore.
Okay.
But believe me, when I do announce it, if it does happen, which wouldn't be till next year, I will tell you guys first. But I don't know what it is. I mean, you don't know what it is. I sort of maybe know what it is. Could be horror. Who knows? Here's a shout out to all the loved patrons. Nancy D, Leah S, Trisha, Sarah V, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Jill E, Brian H, Lauren G, Nico P, Robin S, Jerry W, Emily K, Robert B, Jason W. Do you say W or W?
I like W.
George W.
WB.
Stephen J, Kristen K, Amelia O, Allison L, Jess J, Lucas M, Raj, Joshua D. We still got to make up a song somehow where we just play a song and we add names to it. I don't know if we play it while we're just listening so we don't have to keep recording it. But, you know, you tell people as part of the patrons, top tiers that you mentioned, you give a shout out. So couldn't a shout out be their names in a song?
You could do it, Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire style.
We didn't start. Emily, S and CJP. Yeah, that'd be tough, but we could do it. Emily S, CJP, Samantha M, Hamza B, Jennifer N, Jackie P, Stacy L, Carly H, Jennifer S, Janelle B, Carrie B, Tabitha 272, not to be confused with.
Tabitha 273.
Ashley R, Kimberly B, Crystal H, Mike E, Marissa N, Jack S, Slater's back, Ramira, Beth B, Santiago M, Sarah F, Chad W, Leanne P, Roshan, Ray A, Maya P, Megan J, Maddie S, Tiffany I, Kendrick F, Ashley E. I remember when this list was really small. It's nice.
It's huge now.
It is, but fuck it. I love it. Ashley E., Shannon D., Matt W., Belinda N., Lisa J., Kevin V., Robert S., James R., Chris H., Snow R., Anusha W., Osborne H., Gabby M., Dave H., Samantha S., Spider-Man.
Chase.
That's correct. Sheila G., not to be confused with
Sheila E.
Yeah, that's correct. Ray H., Allison C., Jacob H., Tabitha T., Misha H., Deb A., Tom N., Natalie 622, not to be confused with
Natalie 623, of course.
Allie B., Henry S., Katie F., Daniela V., Liliana A. Those are the patrons. And by the way, I love each and every one of you, whether you're on this list or not. And in fact, I have to send my merch boxes. I have 20 boxes in there that I have to send out, and I have to pack it up. I think I probably need to get more merch. I have so much. If you get the same thing, you know, I did send you the letter, but I'm going to, you know, the little note. But anyway, that's the show. Ryan, thank you as always.
Thank you. And
keep up the killer work, man. Killer work, dude. Bryce, I love you, buddy. Thanks for everything. And Sunspin, come and watch us on a Stage It. And we'll have merch eventually, but the album's going to come out soon, and we play a couple of the songs. And even when we play them on Stage It, as good as I think they sound, they're fun. They're just so full. We got my good friend Emma Fitzpatrick on vocals, and Elliot Yamin from American Idol. He has a great voice. New songs coming out. Who else? Great musicians, Billy Moran and Rob Humphreys, and just great musicians, and I'm really excited about it. And I love making the Left on Laurel album, and now this is just the next level. It's just you know, I'm trying to expand and keep writing music, keep doing what I love, and I think that's important for all of you guys out there. It doesn't matter if you're great at it or good at it, or if you just enjoy it. You just got to do it, man. Just do it. And that's my cue. The gardeners are here, so I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for allowing me to be inside of each and every one of you. Until next time, Ryan.
Bye.
Bye.